And just like that, it's match number 30 from IPL 2022. And boy, it's going to be a tough contest this for both teams, because I'm talking about RR versus KKR. And we have, of course, a former Royal to preview it us on cricket.com. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Avnish Hegde and I'm wearing the pink today. Unfortunately, we have Graeme Smith just wearing white. What's with that, Smithy?
Sunday lunch, Easter, nice good weather in Cape Town, so having a pretty chilled one. So yeah, smart casual.
Smart casualties. Happy Easter to all our folks, of course, across the globe watching this one right now. And let's just break it down in terms of what's going to be coming up on your screens on Monday. Like I said, KKR versus RR, they've met, 24 times in the past with an even Stevens head-to-head, as you can see there. But let's, of course, get on to the more important things. And I want to ask you about KKR, Smithy. We'll come across the Rajasthan Royals in just a bit, but 2 losses in the trot right now. How are things in their camp? I mean, is the trajectory downward, you feel?
I'm not sure. I think, IPL, we said it's going to be tight. We said that it's going to be those ebbs and flows. I think they'll be feeling, relieved that they've got, 6 points on the board. It's coming into sort of the second half of the season and crunch time now. I think what will be worrying them slightly more is just their combinations and, not enough players playing well or in form with both bat and ball. And also going into the game against the Royals, their record at Brabourne will be stressing them out, 0 from 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you touch upon that. One theme which has emerged from KKR this season is the fact that they've relied on heroes more than combined team efforts to get across the line. Do you think that could cost them eventually?
Yeah, so you're saying that just on the night someone had an individual brilliant performance that's got them over the line, and that's what I'm referring to. Getting into this crunch time of the season, the key is you want as many players playing well, as many combinations that can be successful with both bat and ball. And 6 or 7 games in, if you haven't quite found that now, that you start to have question marks. And I think for Brendan McCullum and Shreyas Iyer, those will be the worrisome things. How do they start getting players? Iyer at the top of the order, Shreyas as captain. Getting that, Finch has just arrived, but his form has been up and down for a number of years now. And then the combinations with the ball, who's going to make impacts and get them over the line? And in particular, at Brabourne's going to high scoring ground. Who's going to do the job for them?
Now, it reminds me of that saying that Matthew Hayden said in the commentary box not too long ago. Someone else's trash is someone else's treasure. Now, KKR, of course, what's with them and all the non-retained players doing well? You talk about Dinesh Karthik, Rahul Tripathi, Shubman Gill, Lockie Ferguson, Prasidh Krishna, Kuldeep Yadav. The list goes on. How much will they be regretting this as a franchise?
Yeah, well, look, every IPL franchise had to release a few players, so they're all carrying that stress. At the start of the season, they would have thought they've done well in the auction. They've got a good combination of players. And I think it always makes it difficult when you look over the line and you see the players you've released and they're actually having a cracking tournament. But, for McCullum, for Shreyas Iyer, they've got to now just focus on what they can control. Looking over the fence and worrying about what they could have had is not going to help them. They've got to get their minds together. They've got to try and find within their squad the right combinations, try and get people into form. Because now the crunch time is, as we said, coming into that second half now, getting yourself into a semi is key. So look in, focus in, and work hard on your own group of players to get things moving again.
Yeah, because it makes you think about all the players that they bought back, such as Nitish Rana, of course, who comes to mind, and the rest of the chaps there. Now, let's talk about their bowling before we talk about Rajasthan Royals in just due course of time. One concern is Varun Chakravarti not being able to help Sunil Narine from the other end. His numbers have diminished drastically from year on year, as we can see here. What is the solution to this? Do they kind of drop him for a couple of games, get his confidence back, and then probably throw him in the mix again?
I would be reluctant to do that. I mean, I would try and keep him going because we spoke about the wickets being fresh because of the amount of cricket that they were going to have on them at the start of the season, and now when we're moving to the second half, the wickets are going to get worn. So your spin combinations are going to be key going into the second half of the season. So they need Chakravarti bowling well. They need him playing well. They need that combination of Narine and Chakravarti to get going. Because I think spin is going to start playing a bigger and bigger role now as the tournament goes on. As the wickets get worn, more and more traffic on them, more and more games, you're going to see spin come to the fore. So, I think that combination is going to be key to their success. They need to find a way to get Chakravarti playing well.
Yeah, from their perspective, they'll hope that the pitches kind of dry out, and then those two will come into the game more effectively, especially Sunil Narine, who's kept things brilliantly in terms of the economy rate. But people who haven't done well in terms of keeping the economy rate check is their pacers, especially at the death. How do they solve this problem? If you were Shreyas Iyer, who do you throw the ball to? Because everyone's bleeding runs.
It's actually a problem for both these teams. I mean, if you look at the Rajasthan Royals as well, they've been extremely expensive at the death. So, closing the game down is important. Having a clear mind, not getting caught up in the pressure, having a clear plan with your captain, so you're bowling to your fields, you know what you're going to do. And I think also being able to pick up wickets through the middle period is and that's where we talk about their spin options. Can a Narine, can a Chakravarti pick up 1 or 2 wickets through the middle, but then take the pressure off the death overs. I mean, they don't. I mean, you've got enough experience here in Russell, Cummins, Narine, Umesh Yadav. So there's a lot of experience there. And that's, coming into these final overs, it should be more control on the KKR side. What worries me on the, without Bolt is the Royals really don't have that clarity and that experience in there. So, yeah, I think that could be the change in this game between the two teams. Who does that better going into Brabourne?
Yeah, the numbers speak for itself there in terms of Pacers leaking runs for KKR, but the data also suggests, on the contrary, Rajasthan Royals spinners have been absolutely brilliant. Let's, of course, talk about them in greater depth right now in terms of Ashwin and Chahal. Chahal's been, of course, the wrecker-in-chief, and Ashwin's been keeping things tight. It makes me think if Ashwin starts picking up wickets now, they're certainly going to be going to greater heights. Do you feel that?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when we spoke about this combination at the start of the season, we said this could be the sort of the pairing, the trump card pairing for the Royals. And we picked Chahal as the purple cap sort of leader, and he's bowled extremely well. I mean, looks in great form, getting the ball to spin. He's getting wickets. I think it's also the way Ashwin gets used. I mean, he gets used a fair amount in the power play at the death. He's got to be a little bit more gimmicky, a little bit control the game. Where Chahal's largely used in the middle periods to break things open. So, I think it's about getting your job done that the captain asks you to do. But as a pairing, as a combination, as the wickets start to dry out, sure, the Royals have got a lovely little pair, Ashwin and Chahal. I would certainly love to captain the both of them.
Okay, now let's just stick with a chat of spin, because in terms of our matchups that we have at cricket.com, we feel that it's going to come down to two of the Rajasthan Royals batters have been spin bashers, and Jos Buttler and Sanju Samson, up against the pair that we mentioned earlier, Narine and Chakravarti. Do you think that this matchup will be a big one to dictate the outcome of the game, Smithy?
I do. I think Buttler and Samson are the best players of spin that the Royals have, and I think so that how those two go at the top of the order, how they set the game up. Hetmeyer, I think, is the leading middle order player in the competition as well. But the work that Buttler and Samson do in those first 10 overs are key to allowing him to come in and play with freedom. Where the Royals will be disappointed is, they've given Rassie van der Dussen a chance. He hasn't quite looked like he's going to get going. And again, when you're looking at a top 6 batting lineup and you're counting 1 or 2 players on your hand and you're thinking, hopefully they come off today, that's not a great place to be at this stage of the tournament. You're looking at some point that all your batters have contributed and won you a game and got in, and there's been a partnership here and there, so you feel more confident in your lineup. And I think there's still big question marks over Rassie van der Dussen in this competition, Jimmy Neesham, and those are the two that I'm not sure where they'll go with that. Will they give McCoy a chance? Will they give Daryl Mitchell a chance at the top of the order? Just to shore up their batting lineup. Because if we're talking about outside, Ashwin, Chahal, Buttler, Samson and Hetmeyer, there's a lot of question marks left in that Royals lineup to solve.
Yeah, and they're still sweating on the fitness of Trent Boult, who, of course, is still unsure whether he'll participate in Monday's fixture. But having said that, let's get in your predictions. But before that, too, we can get in Smithy's Mr. Milestone question for today. Graeme, take it away, please.
My Mr. Milestone question is, who is 57 runs away from the amazing mark of 2,000 IPL runs?
Super. Let us know in the comments below, and of course you can stand a chance to win a cricket.com hamper and a goodie bag. There's a lot of things going on in that bag, so you can write us in the email given in the description, and voila, you'll have it with you in no time. Now, predictions. I'm not going to ask Smith about his predictions because, look, I may as well just ask him, how much are Rajasthan Royals going to win by?
I definitely, when I was looking at the predictions, I was loyalty what my brain is telling me. And both of these teams have had an unpredictable run. The Royals started so well. KKR had their successes, and both are wobbling a little bit in the middle periods now. And I think this is an extremely difficult one to predict. Brabourne, high-scoring ground. The trend is to chase there, to win the toss and bowl first. And because it's so tight, and I cannot actually differentiate between the two teams at this stage, I'm going to go for loyalty, and I'm going to back the Royals to get me back on a winning streak.
As always, you said win the toss and bowl first. It's becoming win the toss and chase first to most teams, but jokes apart, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, Graeme Smith. We'll catch you, of course, post-match, where you guys can pick your mind about Graeme Smith's mind, actually. You can pick your questions out for Graeme Smith's mind. Let me just get that right before we end the show. Thanks so much for watching. It's a goodbye from me and a happy Easter, like Smith said earlier.